All right, back for another Portable Clint. Guys, I definitely have a legend here today. All right, Peter Jason, get in here. Whoa, look at him. Whoa, whoa,
You see how he did that?
Yeah.
It's like the magic of film.
Peter Jason, man, I don't even know where to start with you. You have 261 IMDb credits. Are you aware of that?
Oh.
Do you ever go to IMDb?
Of course I do. Every actor goes to IMDb to see what they're doing tomorrow.
Okay, I'm just making sure you know that. Okay, I'm going to start, I mean, seriously, 261, I don't even know where to start, but I'm going to start with something that I'm going to tell you how I know you. Okay, this is the way I will always picture you with these two roles. Do you know which roles I'm going to say? If I have to pick out two of my favorite roles of yours, do you know what they are?
The next one.
Nope.
Oh. Shoot.
Okay, Brewster's Millions in 48 hours.
Jack Fleming, Action News, the big story. And you best have a black Russian. Okay.
I mean,
That's
wow,
two
I'm
lines that I
done.
remember.
I'm done. You've made my day just with those
Shocking.
two lines.
I remember two lines.
Wow, but those were the, wow. Thank you so much for saying those. Peter, you were born and raised here?
I'm born in Hollywood, right around the corner here, up in the Hollywood Presbyterian Hospital, which is no longer. It burned down. It was on Vermont. Now they moved it up to the corner of Vermont and Sunset. It's called Children's Hospital, I believe.
Okay.
And how you doing? And I went there when I was a teenager to get my birth certificate. I don't know what for, passport or something. And they said it had burned down, and I had to go to Sacramento for my records. Thank God they had them in Sacramento.
Did you drive up there to get them?
No.
Okay.
I think they did it all by mail. I've been to Sacramento, but not on that trip, I don't believe.
Okay, so when did you first get into the business of acting?
High school.
How? What? Where?
Oh, there was this really gorgeous girl named Jeannie Brubaker.
Okay.
And I was coming off the football field, coming out of the locker room. I had my cleats over my shoulder. I'm walking out to the Good Humor truck to get an ice cream.
Sure.
And Jeannie approaches me and she says, "Oh, you'd be perfect for this play we're doing. He's a sarcastic old guy." And I said, "Well, thank you very much." And I said, she said, "You come to the audition. We're going to be rehearsing every night." And I went, "Oh, every night? You're going to be there? Well, how do I do that? What do I do?" And she said, "Well, come with me." And she took me over to this audition in the theater at Newport Harbor High School.
Okay.
And I auditioned for this guy named Robert Wentz, who was the head of the drama department. And he handed me this sheet, and I went up and read it, and I went, "She walks in beauty like the night, and in these hands is the art of Michelangelo." And he went, "Good, really good." He said, "Why don't you go off in the corner and study that, look at it, try to figure out what it says, what it means, tell you you're familiar with it, get good and familiar so you know what you're going to say, and then come back." And I said, "Okay." I went over to the corner for 5 minutes. I'm looking at it, studying it, looking at it, thinking, now I know what it means. And I read it several times. I walked back and said, "Yeah, I'm ready." And he said, "Well, stand there and say it as loud as you can to the back of the theater." And I said, "Okay." And I went, "She walks in, beauty like the night, and in those hands is the art of Michelangelo." And he said, "Thank you very much." And I went away laughing. And came back the next morning, and here on the board, the glass board, when you walk into the school, there's two lists, and it's double cast.
Okay.
December 1st and 2nd, and December 1st was the entire cast, and the part of Sheridan Whiteside, the lead, was Peter Ostling. It said that was my legal name.
Okay.
My family name, and then. On the second night, it said Peter Ostling, and I'm the only one that's double cast in this whole play, and I had to do it both nights, not knowing. Jeannie, by the way, never got a part in the show, so I couldn't hang with her for the whole rehearsal period that she'd promised. And well, she was such a great girl, and she went on to be a curator of a museum in Italy, and she's an artist and a fabulous girl. But I went out opening night for my curtain call, and the audience exploded into applause, and I went, "Oh, I like this."
Yeah.
And it changed my life forever right then. I was going to be an engineer, and after that, I'm going to be an actor.
Great. I'm glad you did.
Well,
When did Jason come into effect? Peter Jason, that is.
My first year of being an actor, I went to an early audition at 20th Century Fox, and the casting director was a guy named Joe Scully.
Okay.
And terrific old casting director.
I remember him when I first got out. He was still around.
He was a great one. And Joe, I'm in his office, and he had a football, and he was throwing it to me. I'm sitting on the sofa, and I'm throwing it back. We're playing catch. He wanted to see, relax me, and
That's
see.
Nice.
It was a great way of doing it, because I was an athlete, and that's what I was familiar with, and so that did relax me. And I'm talking with him. He says, Ostling, we can't spell that. Well, they're not. You're going to have to change that name. and I said, really? He said, yeah. And I said, okay. Well, he said, what would you like to change it to? And the night before, I'd seen Long Day's Journey into Night.
Okay.
With Ralph Richardson and Katharine Hepburn and Jason Robards and Dean Stockwell.
Okay.
And so I changed it to Katharine Hepburn. No. He said that was taken. I changed it to Jason, from Jason Robards, and because I loved his performance so much. And he said, great, Peter Jason, that's what you are.
It's a great name. It rolls off the tongue.
Well, let me just show you something here while I'm up.
Here we go, y'all. What are we going to see?
You can still see, well, don't look at the address, but you can still see that it says Ostling on
Oh, okay, it sure does. It sure does.
And so legally, I'm still Ostling.
Okay.
I have to fly by that, tell my agents if we're going to, London to do a movie or whatever, I have to fly by Ostling, because that's what we do now.
Okay, the first thing I got to talk to you about is working with many legends. You've worked with a lot of legends.
My first one, I died in John Wayne's arms.
John Wayne.
They don't get bigger than that.
Tell me about that, please. I mean, wow.
Oh, I got a million stories. That was my first one. I'll tell you about how I got that part.
Please.
It was 1966, maybe, 67. And it was the 60s,
Yeah.
So we were all high, kind of, So I woke up, came to that morning, and rolled up a big doobie and smoked it, fired it back, and my phone rang. It was my agent.
Okay.
He said, I said, oh, I got an agent? He said, get over to CBS Radford right now, because CBS Cinema Center, they're doing a movie, and you're up for a part. And I said, who is this? And so I got dressed as best I could, and I drove over the hill to the valley to CBS Cinema Center. And I walked in, and in those days, your agent met you at the gate.
Really?
And walked you in, yeah. In those days, they didn't, before computers and before they sent you the sides and stuff like that, they would meet you there. And the secretaries were kind of in charge in those days. And there was a pecking order. And so you had to work your way up through the secretary pool to get in and see the big guys, So he walked me in, and we went past the secretaries to the office of Howard Hawks. And went in. He came out of his office, and Alex, my agent, Alex Brewis, said, this is Peter Jason, this is Howard Hawks. And Howard stuck out his hand. I shook it. I never said a word.
Are you still
Stoned
high?
to the bone.
Okay, I was going to ask if you were still high.
And he walks me in the office. Come with me, Alex. You stay outside here, Peter. Come with me. And I went with him. We walked in his office. He said, sit here. And he went behind the desk, and he said, now we're making a movie about a train and John Wayne, blah, blah, blah. He told me the entire story of the movie. I sat there, stoned to the bone, listening intently to every word he said, trying to figure out where I was, and could you slow down? I never said that, but my brain was saying that.
Right.
And he finished, and he got up, and he walked around the desk. He reached down, took my hand. I stood up, and he said, it's not often I find a young man who will listen to an old codger like me. And he said, I'll be in touch with your agent. And he left. And I left. And I went outside, and Alex said, how'd it go? I said, I don't know. I never said hello or goodbye. I don't even know if he knows I can speak. And I got the job.
Wow, man.
Next thing I know, I'm flying to Cuernavaca, Mexico, and where I scored some wonderful grass. And where I'd started on this movie, it was just a great adventure. And the first day on the set, I'll remember I was up at 6 o'clock in my costume, which is a Civil War outfit in the hot sun of Cuernavaca, roasting my ass. And
what's this movie called again?
Rio Lobo.
Okay, that's what I thought. Just making sure.
Wolf River.
Okay.
And John Wayne comes over and does something I've never seen any actor do on any movie ever.
Oh, I can't wait.
30 Mexicans lined up. And he walks by and goes, Raul, how's Conchita? How's little Niños? Ah, Rafael, how's the... And he goes down and says hello to every single man there and knows a little something about them.
Wow,
right?
wow.
And then he gets to me and he goes, oh, you must be Lieutenant Forsyth. I said, yes, sir, Peter Jason, sir. Oh, you can call me the Duke. Yes, sir, Mr. Duke, sir. And he said, where'd you get that piece of shit? And he takes my hat off my head and he your wardrobe. And he hands it to the wardrobe guy and he says, where'd you get this, Western? Get him a hat like mine. And he runs off. Comes back with a pile of hats. John Wayne comes back and he rifles through the hats and he finds one that's beat up and crummy looking. He puts it on my head and it falls right over my ears. He goes, shit, and he takes the thing off. Give me some cigarettes. And he opens up the band and he puts some cigarettes around the band. He goes down, picks it up, puts it on my head and he goes, oh, all right, now you look like me. And walks away. And
wow.
That was my introduction to John Wayne.
Was John Wayne, now I'm sure he was, but was he gigantic at this time when you worked with him? I mean, was he the Duke like we all know he is today?
Well, he'd only made probably about 400 movies by then.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
This is the end of his career. He'd already had cancer.
Okay.
Already been cured of that. He was already back drinking and smoking.
Okay, really?
Every morning he'd bang on my trailer door and say, oh, you want to try your luck, kid? And we'd go out and we played a couple of games of chess, which he was terrible at, by the way. I'm terrible at it, and I could beat him.
Did you love the fact that he was knocking on your trailer door?
I wasn't aware of my circumstances. I didn't realize that I was in the forest with giants. I didn't know a thing. I was just a cocky kid who was like happy to be in showbiz because there were hot chicks and you could get high.
Well, Peter, were you getting high on the set of Rio Lobo during filming?
Is this tape
no?
on?
Let's not tape it. It's not on.
Well, I never got high on camera.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Okay, wow. Okay, what's the next big thing you do? What leads after that? I mean, where do I start
I came
after
home
John
from
Wayne?
Mexico, and I thought, I'm a big movie star now. I don't have to do anything. So I just continued being a jerk and did a few more things, and then I started behaving like an idiot, showing up late, throwing scripts on desks, walking out, doing stuff I think you're supposed to do if you're a big movie star. And I was nothing, I was nothing. Nobody knew who I was or anything. I was just a jerk. And my agent wisely said, go to New York for a year and grow up. So I did. I went to New York for 7 years and did about 300 commercials in 7 years in New York.
Really?
So all I could get. I went there to do Broadway shows and stuff. I sang, so I wanted to do musicals. I ended up getting in one with David Carradine and Betty Buckley called The Ballad of Johnny Pot, where I played the sheriff, which I had a blast doing and became lifelong friend with David. David and I became best pals. And later on, he flew me out, and I lived with him while we did the Kung Fu with his dad and his brother, Bobby.
Sure.
I got to work with his dad. And
what was his dad's name again?
John Carradine.
John Carradine, okay.
Who made more movies than anybody in the history of the Screen Actors Guild.
Really?
He used to talk about a thing called bicycling.
What is that?
In those those days, they made a movie a week.
Okay.
And bicycling was, you'd start off at 20th Century Fox in the morning, and you'd shoot till lunch. You'd be in a movie and you shoot till lunch. You get on a bicycle and you ride all the way down Motor Avenue, all the way down to MGM, and you shoot another movie in the afternoon down there. So it's called bicycling. They do 2 movies a day. So he had over 400 movies.
Wow.
I think almost 500 movies. I think it's more than anybody in the Screen Actors Guild ever did that spoke lines,
I don't think I'm familiar with John Carradine, which I'm sure I am.
Grapes
but I'm
of Wrath.
Yeah,
He played the preacher.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He has so many movies, John Carradine, but great actor.
Tell me this. List me 5 legends you worked with. John Wayne, Orson Welles.
Orson Welles.
And tell me about, let's go ahead and pull over for Orson Welles. Tell me about your experience with him. Because you had a really interesting experience. Because you filmed something that didn't come out till years later.
I made several movies with Orson. The first was...
and you also got to tell him how you got a car out of this deal.
Yeah, I did. Orson Well, I grew up with Frank Marshall, the great producer.
Sure.
And probably produced more great hits than anybody in the history of Hollywood. I don't know. He's got like 5 of them out there right now. And I was in his last one, Jurassic World.
Yes, you were. Yes.
So anyway, Frank and I grew up together down in Balboa, Newport Beach. He lived on Lido Isle. I lived on the peninsula. And he and my brother were best friends, and they had a band together called the name of that band. I forget the name of it.
Put it this way, Frank Marshall's hooked up with Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
I mean, that's how big he is.
Along the line, Spielberg got him. But he started off by going to UCLA, and he became a gopher for Peter Bogdanovich.
Okay.
You know, getting coffee and stuff like that. And Peter was married to Polly Platt at the time. And Frank did Target's What's Up Doc, Last Picture Show, Daisy Miller, Long Last Love, the one with Barbara Streisand, I forget the name of it, and Ryan O'Neal.
The main event.
There's another one they did up in San Francisco. I forget.
What's up, Doc? No, you said that.
What's Up, Doc? That's probably what I meant. Anyway,
back to order. I got you off track.
I go to New York. I'm trying to grow up, and phone rings, and it's Frank, and he says, "You want to be in a movie?" And I said, "Yeah." By the way, Bogdanovich loaned Frank to Orson to be his assistant on a movie he was making in Arizona,
okay,
which happened to be The Other Side of the Wind. Frank said to me, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm starving. What are you doing?" He said, "I'm making a movie. You want to be in it?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "It's only one day," but I said, "Great." He said, "You're flying from JFK to Tucson." I said, "Great. Do you have to know any more about it?" I said, "No." "You're playing a porn star and you're stark naked for the whole movie." "Great, I'm there." No, he didn't. So I hopped on a plane. I flew to Tucson, right? I got out and I was met by Neil Canton, Mark Canton's brother.
Sure, yeah.
Neil produced Buckaroo Banzai and Back to the Future. But at this time, he was just a gopher like Frank, you know, and he picked 5 of us up at the airport. It was Gregory Sierra, who was in Papillon. He was the guy running through the jungle when the bamboo shoots go through his chest.
Yes.
That was Gregory Sierra. Benny Rubin, who was a little Jewish comic who Orson had worked with in the Mercury Theater, and during one play reading told us a story about Orson was doing a rehearsal of this play he was doing, and Benny's line was peanut, popcorn, Cracker Jacks, candy. Peanut, popcorn, Cracker Jacks, candy. That's all he said in the whole radio piece, right? And Orson was the lead. And after they rehearsed it once, and they're breaking to have a coffee before they taped the show, Orson turned to Benny Rubin and he goes, "Benny, you know what? Here's the script. You play my part, I'll play yours." And Orson read, "Peanut, popcorn, Cracker Jack," and they switched parts. And Benny had to do the whole script. And Benny said it was like, was shocked out of terrified.
I bet.
But it was a great story. And Benny told that. Benny Rubin, Gregory Sierra, Vince Barbie, who was an ex-wrestler, and he had this red tube that was always like not quite square. And Vince Barbie is this like wrestler kind of guy, you know, he's kind of big tough. And a guy named Tonio Selwert, who was a matinee idol in the 20s on Broadway, and he was very distinguished, like a perfect suit and vest, and looked absolutely perfect. Tonio Selwert. And all 5 of us were met at the airport by Neil. He put us in the station wagon, and we drove all the way out 55 miles to Cave Creek, Arizona, which was nothing at the time. I mean, absolutely nothing except a gas station and a little desert forest motel and a bar called the Silver Spur, I think. And as this house set up in the rocks that Orson was shooting The Other Side of the Wind at. That was the set. And he lived in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Orson,
in the set?
Orson lived in the set. He lived in the bedroom. No one went in the bedroom. We weren't allowed. But there was a bedroom, bathroom, and the rest of the house was the set. And we shot in it. And I walked into that room upstairs. We parked underneath the pool. There's a pool that was suspended. And we drove in underneath the pool. And we get out and walk up the staircase and walk into the dining room. And they're all there. There's Cameron Mitchell, Lily Palmer, Susan Strasberg, Edmund O'Brien, Bertolucci. I thought I died and gone to actor's heaven. They're all there, right?
So you're appreciating this one, right?
Well, all of a sudden, I'm looking around. I'm saying, what am I? I thought, flying out, I thought, well, I'm going to be doing some one line in Peter Bogdanovich's What's Up, Doc 2 or something like that. You know? I didn't know I was going to be in this movie with John Huston, and I don't know who else is in it yet, but I still think Peter Bogdanovich is in charge. And Frank comes up and he says, have you met him yet? And I go, no. He said, well, have a T-bone and sit down and, okay. And I sit down, I'm eating a T-bone, and I'm looking across from me, and it's Mercedes by Cambridge telling a story to John Huston about a blue Cadillac. That's all I remember. I don't know anything about the story. It's a blue Cadillac. And I'm just trying to listen and eat and not look like I'm gawking at him. And I'm eating my, I got a T-bone here, you know, having a good time. I haven't eaten in days. And all of a sudden Frank comes in, Peter! Yeah, come here. And excuse me, and I get up and I wander in the extra room, and Orson comes sliding in, big bathrobe thrown across his chest, purple robe, no belt, kind of held closed by gravity, and big cigar in his mouth, glasses hanging around his neck, and script in his hand. Frank says, this is Orson, this is Peter Jason's going to be playing Marvin T. Fasterbender. Orson looks at me and goes, well, you don't look anything like anybody. I don't even know what that means. But he says, well, welcome to the family, Frank. Give him a script, get him a T-bone.
Wow.
And he waddles away, you know. And slides away.
Slides.
And I go back to my T-bone. I'm here eating. I take 2 bites and I hear, Peter! Jesus, he knows my name. I drop everything and go running out there. And he's now got a camera set up in the rocks by the pool. And where's your script? I said, well, Frank, bring me a script. Run, do not walk. He screams.
Run, do not walk.
And a script comes flying in. They hand it to me. Orson opens to the page. He hands me this and says, this is a scene we shot in Spain 2 years ago. We're doing the reverse. Okay? And so we start. John Huston is on camera. I'm standing behind the camera. John Huston goes, da-da-da-da-dee, da-da-da-da-da. And I go, da-da-da-da-dee, da. He goes, Peter, don't act, just read the words. Yes, sir. Da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Perfect. Must have a bear in my throat. I don't know why. I'm used to talking about myself. Anyway, so we do the scene, great, fine. And that was my first day. Welcome to the set. And from then on, for the next 3 months, I do everything. From cook, to hold lights, to build sets, to run to get dinner, to drive people to their hotel. You do everything on an Orson movie, absolutely everything. Whenever the cops came to the door, because we're shooting at night with a gun outside. Cop on the door, Peter, go to the door. He'd send me to the door because I look like a college kid, and I'm supposed to say, you know, we're shooting a college movie, and sorry, we're trying to make it, you know. And you know, cops came every once in a while because John Huston gets drunk. I don't know if you've seen the movie yet, but he has this relationship with his leading man who disappears, and so they had plaster cast faces made of the leading man, John Dale, put on dummy bodies, which we all made, and put them up in the rocks. And then when he gets drunk, he opens up the sliding glass door with his Winchester and blows the faces of this leading man to bits, and it's great. And so we did everything on his movie. You do everything on an Orson movie, and you just have to be prepared to not let your ego get in the way, because there's only room for one ego on that set, and that's Orson's. The only one he didn't yell at was John Huston. And they were like equals, so I remember him screaming at Edmund O'Brien, God bless his soul. He was playing the AD in the movie. It's a movie within a movie. Okay. So he's playing the AD, and he's on a bullhorn all the time. All right, everybody get out of the bus. He's like one of those things. He was great, Eddie O'Brien. But he was old, and he was sick, and he was couldn't breathe, and he had emphysema and cataracts and couldn't see. I mean, he was like on his last legs. And Orson would beat him unmercifully. And every once in a while, he'd go into the bathroom, he'd be in there coughing and spitting for, 10, 15 minutes too long. And the next thing you know, Orson's screaming for him. And so we have to go and knock on the door. Mr. O'Brien, you're anytime now. Orson's ready. So Orson would scream at him when he'd come to the set. And Joe, pull up here.
Have a seat, yeah, man.
We'll just move the camera here.
There we go.
We'll back up.
Yeah.
That's
Perfect.
showbiz.
Yeah.
That's how we make
That
show.
is. That is
That's how we
show
make
business.
showbiz. Of course, nice lighting on you now.
Yeah. There you go. Get in there. You're good. You're good. Peter, please continue. I'm sorry. Sorry about my good lighting.
Joe's eating a burrito.
Yeah, he is. That's a big burrito.
Yeah, it's a big burrito.
And that's from, what's that guy's name who owns these restaurants?
Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo. Do you know Danny
great-
Trejo by chance?
I do indeed.
Okay.
I do indeed.
All right, where were we? He was in the... he
Mr.
was
Machete.
Yeah, Mr. Machete, that's right. He was in, who was in the bathroom coffin up a storm?
Eddie O'Brien.
Okay.
Edmund O'Brien. So when he got to the set and we shoot the scene, and finally on the last day of Mr. O'Brien's shooting, Orson announces, that's the last shot, Mr. O'Brien, give him a round of applause. I'll give him a round of applause. And Edmund O'Brien, who said nothing over Orson screaming at him all this time, walks up to me and he goes, Orson, I want to thank you for allowing me to be in your movie. You want to work with me again, you can get in touch with my agent in care of Peking, China. And Orson just cracked up and fell down. It was the best.
That's funny, man.
It was the best. I thoroughly loved working with Orson and being his lackey and, and
Okay.
jumping every time he said jump, and doing everything he said. And
I would have done the same thing.
we all did. We all loved it.
How did you get his car?
Well, he never paid me.
Okay, so here's the other side to it, okay?
So a few years later, 1982, actually in January, I remembered specifically because that's the last time I had a cocktail. And so I was getting sober and I was broke and I didn't have a car. And I was at my rock bottom, and I went up to Orson, and I said, Peter, good to see you. Come on in, have a cigar, have a drink. What would you? I said, no, Orson, I'm not drinking. As a matter of fact, I'm broke, and I need some money. Well, how much do I owe you? And I said, well, I think about $32,000. He goes, oh, that's a lot of money. I said, yes, it is. He said, well, take the car, Peter, take the car. And he had a 1970 Caddy convertible, beautiful, maroon in mint condition. And I needed a car.
Well, Peter, let me tell you something. I'm just going to sidetrack it for a second. I saw you several times before I knew you driving around. When I first moved out here, saw you driving around in that car, and I was starstruck, knowing that was you driving that cool Cadillac, man.
Yeah, that was Orson. Oops.
Well, there we go.
That was Orson's.
Okay, so and that's all he paid you of that $32,000?
Well, no, he said, I now owe you 24. No, he said, I now owe you 26. And I said, no, 24. Whatever.
That's
Peter,
nice.
Take the car. Take the car.
Who? Okay, we got.
No, it's 28. I said 26. That's right. I can't add either.
Okay, we got John Wayne out of the way. We got Orson Welles. Who else? Who's another big
Meryl
one?
Streep.
Meryl Streep. How'd you?
That was one of my greatest days in the business.
Okay, I want to hear that, please.
Well, no, I don't think anyone will ever see it, unfortunately, unless it's in the, you know how they put outtakes on
Yep.
whatever it's called, extra added scenes or something
Yes.
like that. I did a movie for, well, I'll tell you the whole story. I was invited to be at a reading for a show called Being John Malkovich.
Yes.
And they're having the first time they're having a reading to raise the money. It was a backers audition, and they asked me to read this part.
Is that a thing? Backers auditions? Is that a thing?
Sometimes, if you're trying to get
I don't think I've
the
ever
money.
heard that before.
Oh, it's mostly in the theater, but
Okay.
I'm sure they have them. I've done a few of them for movies.
Okay.
They want to get backers who are interested in being involved, so they won't even hire. They'll ask a bunch of actors to read the script.
Okay.
And we read the script with hopes of being picked up, and we be in it.
Sure.
So I went over and read one of the leads, and it was Orson Bean ended up playing it. The role changed totally. Orson Bean was the John Malkovich role, and so I read that role. A full house. I got all my laughs. We did a great job. Spike Jonze was the director.
That's right.
And then everybody left, and they thanked me. Oh, great job, great job. We all left. I never heard from anybody again. until I went to the movie to see Being John Malkovich with John Malkovich.
Yeah.
Which I loved. And I went, I don't know, it had totally changed. My part maybe is not there. I don't know, but I wasn't in it, that's for sure. And I didn't feel too bad about it because it's Hollywood. That's what happens. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
And, you just try to get the next brass ring as the carousel spins.
Yeah.
And so she's a penguin. That's a penguin? Adorable. So, all the time we're making a movie here, making a big movie motion picture here. The guy's driving through with the steamroller here. What the hell's going on? So anyway, where were we? We're with Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep, best day ever.
So, years go by. Spike Jonze is making another movie called Adaptation. And my agent calls me and says, Spike Jonze, I'd like to see you for adaptation for this part. And actually Brian Cox's part. And I go and run good. I go and read the scene. It's a good scene. I go and read it and meet him. He says, really, the reason why I'm having you in is because I realized that you were a major part of helping me get that movie on. And I forgot to get you involved, and I didn't. I should have. So it's my fault, and I'm trying to make amends.
Wow.
And I went, I'm telling you, thank you, because no one ever does that.
Yeah, no one, man.
No
that
one
is
ever
nice.
does that. I said, that's a beautiful thing, Mr. Jones.
Sure is.
And so he says, I hope I'll get you in this. I don't know if this is the right part, but I'd like to get you in this. And it wasn't the right part. I gave him a good reading, but it was a part for Brian Cox. And so, but he hired me to play Chris Cooper's lawyer. Now, Chris Cooper and I had been, I'd met Chris when he first started in the business in New York. He came from St. Louis with his girlfriend. They moved, my wife and I helped them find an apartment, decorated an apartment. They found an apartment. They decorated while we did a play in New York on 18th Street called The Wolves and the Lambs. I played a sheriff. He played the son of the woman that I was interested in. And called The Wolves and the Lambs. I never saw him again until I went to the movies and saw Mate One. And I went, hey, I know that guy. And then years later, Lone Star. Oh, I know that guy. And I still haven't seen him. But I go to the set, and I get the part of the lawyer, and I show up that day, and I've got my own Ivy League suit. It's kind of that light tan with a regimental tie and saddle shoes, and I'm playing this lawyer. I dressed him myself, and that's the way I wanted to play him. So I'm at the food truck getting a coffee, right? I'm just spinning it like this, and all of a sudden behind me I feel my hands go around me and grab me. And he goes, yeah, you're in the movie. Coffee goes all over my shirt, which is I've got to use the thing, And he goes, oh my God, I'm sorry. It's Chris Cooper. And he goes, I'm sorry, oh my God, I'm sorry, but I hadn't seen you so long. I thought I'd surprise you. And I go, it's okay. You're a big star, aren't you? Ask for a wardrobe. Oh yeah, wardrobe. Someone comes over. They take off my shirt and jacket and they go clean it and get me ready for the scene. And we talk about old times, and I'm having a great moment with him. And I'm congratulating him on his success. And he's a great kid. And pretty soon, what happened?
he spilled coffee on you, and I mean, he spilled his.
I go to my trailer, I get my new costume on, they call me to the set. Now, I'm on the set. Spike Jonze is there in a tie, and it's a Friday. And what he does to show tribute to the years of filmmaking in Hollywood, when they all used to wear ties.
Sure.
He has Tie Friday.
Wow.
And everyone on the crew has a tie.
I love it.
Now, granted, some of them are ridiculous. Some of them are like naked girls or light up tie, Superman, Santa Claus tie. But they're all in ties.
Yeah, I love that.
Which is a great way of respecting the past.
Sure is.
And I happen to be there on a Friday, and so they're all wearing ties. And he tells me this story, and so we're waiting for Meryl Streep, and finally she starts walking up. Now, I have to tell you that before I worked with her, I did a little research on her. I called my friend Dennis Quaid, who I've worked with several times. He's an old friend, and said, I'm going to work with Meryl Streep tomorrow. Any advice? He said, she's the greatest. He said, number one, you're going to love it. Number two, tell her thank you. Tell her I say thank you for loaning us her what do you call a person that takes care of babies?
Oh, their nanny.
Thank you for loaning us her nanny when Jack was born, when he was married to Meg Ryan. And she said her nanny was the greatest. We didn't want to give her back. And so I said, oh, I will. Thank you very much. And I moved on because he'd just done postcards from the Edge with her a couple of years before. Yep. And so I couldn't wait for her to come to the set. She walks to the set, and Spike Jones introduces us and says, this is Peter Jason's going to be playing a lawyer. And she kind of shook my hand like, nice to meet you, and like not even really even looking at me.
Yeah.
You know? And I thought, God, that's kind of rude. But maybe she was nervous too. And I said, oh, I just wanted to say hi for a friend of ours. She said, oh, really? Who? And I said, Dennis Quaid. And at this point, Dennis and Meg had just split up.
Oh, okay.
And so she went, oh, how is Dennis? Oh, how is Dennis? And I said, he's great. He's fine. And I said, he wanted to thank you for loaning your nanny to him for Jack. He said, oh, he's the greatest nanny. And all of a sudden, we had a bond. You know, we had a connection. So I've learned over the years that if you use the right moment to share some inner relationship between you and a third person who's not there, that it helps create this electric something that happens between actors that then all of a sudden you can it bonds you, you know. And you need all the help you can get. If you're coming in one day and they're already a family, it's hard to come into a new family. Well, I've done it hundreds of times, so I got a lot of little tricks like that. So I used that, and she immediately accepted me and everything. And from that moment on, every take, she would start ad-libbing before we even said action. She'd start, and she wants something from me, and I don't want to give it to her. So that's the basis of the scene. And she would attack me for, and he'd say action, and she'd go into the lines and do the lines, and I'd do the lines, and cut. All right, let's do it again. And she'd go, I'd start in early and everything, and action, and she's starting, but she's already there with her character before he even says action. Wow. She's already on the move and at me, and it was like, block, you know, block and block, 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 block. It was like so much fun doing this scene with her all day long. And
now you know why she's a multi-Academy Award winner?
Oh, I totally do. The first thing you notice about her is her skin is an alabaster that is like, oh my God, it's like porcelain. She's the most beautiful skin. It's like radiant. It glows. It's one of the reasons. Also, it was fabulous working with her. But they cut it from the movie, so
they did the whole thing.
Anyway.
Jason, wait, Peter, let me ask you something.
Not the whole thing. I have one little big fat close-up.
Okay, good. Just
with Chris Cooper. I'm in the movie, but big deal.
Right.
I've been cut out of a lot of movies. They cut a bunch of my scenes out of Deadwood tonight. I'm very upset about that too.
The movie or
the movie?
I saw it. I saw it the other day.
Yeah, could you find me?
I wasn't looking. How about that?
I was the minister. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that because now they'll know what the hell's going on.
No, but this won't come out. This comes out Sunday, right?
I'm the one who buries Dayton
Wait,
Talley.
I would hold on.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. But you were on the show, though. You were.
Yeah, I did 33 out of the 36 episodes. I played Constable.
Look at you, man.
Yeah, I had the scene with the naked girl in the bathroom.
That's right.
Send me a fucking Jeroboam of champagne. This is the captain speaking. Send me the galley. Galley here. You know, that one.
Okay. What was the longest show that you were on? What TV show? What's the longest one you've been on?
Well, I did 33 episodes of Deadwood. I did 26 episodes of Mike Hammer.
Mike Hammer.
I've done 10 episodes of Baskets.
Yeah, and Baskets, and that's a new thing for you, right?
I mean, it's new. I play Louis Anderson's older brother.
Oh, wow.
Zach Galifianakis' twins. He plays twins. I play their uncle.
Are you an Emmy member?
A what?
Emmy member?
No, I'm Academy.
Oh, excuse me. But you should be an Emmy.
Emmy's nice.
Yeah, I am. I mean, you should go because
too many things. You have hoops you got to jump through. You got to tell them this, tell them that, ask them this. They ask. I tried to join, and they asked me too many questions. So I said, you know what? I'm in the Academy. That's enough. But I see all the movies. I vote on all the movies, and you know, if they want me in, they'll ask me.
Okay. You were in
I was nominated for an Emmy 48 years ago for a show called Judd for the Defense. Richard Dreyfuss and I played lovers, and it was like the first time I think ever that they talked about homosexuality on a TV show, and we both got nominated.
Wow. Okay. Well, congratulations on that. You were in BJ and the Bear.
I was a dope pusher.
I'm jealous of
and
that.
In that period, it might have been kind of true. I never sold it. I just used it.
Right. I listen. Peter, I don't want to get into this, but
Keep coming back.
82, you called it quits on the drinking.
Yeah.
Did that ever affect your acting? Did you ever get in trouble because you showed up on the set drunk or high or anything like that?
You know, I never.
You don't have to tell me any of this.
I never did drugs while I was working, but there's always a residual in you from the night before. So you might as well say, yeah, I still had it in me. It takes 90 days for the alcohol to be eliminated from your system. So, you know, you might say I was on a constant drunk from 1967 to 1982 because I drank every day.
Okay, all right.
And that excitement that I had on my first night of walking out on that stage and playing The Man Who Came to Dinner when the audience exploded into applause and I went, oh, I like this. You know, that moment.
Yeah.
You want that moment again. But you can't do that every night, and that only happens once in your life. So you keep going after that dragon again, you know.
Yeah.
You keep searching for that high. You want to. So if you can't do it on stage, or if you can't do it live, or you can't do it in the movies, you know, you look for it other ways, and sex, or booze, or drugs, or gambling, or eating, or some high. You're looking for that high.
Yeah.
If you're an obsessive, compulsive person of my nature, and you know. You gotta put the brakes on, or end up in jail or dead.
Peter, I'm going to start winding down here because we could go on forever. But I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions. How does one get 261 IMDb credits?
One day at a time.
Okay, I believe that.
No, it's it's about the audition process. There's a room you walk into, and in that room, people are going to judge you. And it's a beauty contest, you know? Who do I like better? At the end of the day, when they see the 20 people, they're going to go off in the corner and they're going to talk about who'd you like? I like 14. I like 16. I like 22. Why does 22 get it? Because why do you want him? Well, I liked him. Was he the best actor? I don't know. I liked him. I want to spend the next 2 weeks working with him. Okay, fine. So how do you go in there and change them from judging you to, you have to change the dynamic in the room.
Okay.
So I go in there and try to, like, I'll say, so how did you make that movie, when you were shooting that movie, how did you make that explosion on the mountain happen? Oh my God, that was so difficult. We had to come in the backside. It took us 3 days to drill. Then we had to, all of a sudden you got two people talking about how you make shit rather than one person judging another person.
Yes.
So it's two people talking about the profession and how we do it, and all of a sudden, and plus you're talking about something that they created, and so they like me already because I like something that they made.
Wow.
So you change the dynamic in the room, and all of a sudden now we're sharing like a family, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to create a family. So that's what these directors are looking for. I think somebody who wants to say, look at us rather than look at me. So,
wow, that's big right there. I like that a lot. That's good stuff. Any other little tips like that I need to know? Ego. Have an ego. Have
Edging
one?
God out.
Tell me what you mean by that, please.
Peter, can you stand on your head and whistle Dixie? What key? You know, it's like, how can I help? How can I be of service? What can I do to make this better for everybody? How are you going to get all that cable up the top of the hill when there's only one of you? You're going to have to wait for that? And let me grab a couple of cables.
Yep.
You know, but you're not in the union. Well, who's looking? Let's go. You know?
Wow.
It's like being part of a family. Peter, go up to the front of the line and eat first. Why? We all have to go back to start shooting at the same time.
I know. I always feel bad about that part.
Well, sometimes they do. If you have to be the first up to shoot and you have to put makeup on you before, you should go up there so you can go back there. But then the makeup people should be up here too.
Exactly.
Because they're going to put the makeup on me.
You're right.
So it's like, help the family. How can I help? How can I be of service? How can I make this better for everybody? You know, and take my personal ego out of it. It's hard to do when it's an ego-driven thing because you have a little heart. You know, and you're stabbed in the heart so many times over the years. I've been stabbed so many times in the heart that scars. It's all solid scar tissue by now.
Sure, I know.
And how do you massage that heart? You know?
Yeah.
You have to keep squeezing it.
Yeah.
You have to keep being. And if you're helping somebody else, it's really hard to think about yourself. So that's the whole thing.
Well, Peter, when when I asked you to do this, you said yes like that. So you helped somebody out today by saying yes to this. So I thank you for.
And if you're listening out there, send $1.25 to what's the name of our company?
Yeah, exactly.
2 Mules for Sister Sarah. It's a religious organization.
Okay, couple last questions. Tell me the year you started.
1960. Well, I started in 1961.
Okay.
Acting. In 1966, I joined the union.
Okay, so 66 to 2019. That's a long time. Did you ever get freaked out? Did you ever want to quit? Did you ever have to get a side job? Tell me about the dark days of Hollywood.
I've never had a job except acting. I've always been lucky. I've always had friends. If I was broke, I borrowed from friends. I always paid them back. And I've tried to reinvent myself as often as I can. If I wasn't getting any auditions, I shaved my hair, grow a mustache, try to be somebody else. After I did 48 Hours, all they wanted me for were bartenders, bartenders. So I, became an athlete. Then I was a coach on arachnophobia. Then I was just coaches. Then I grew a beard. Each time you have to keep, because they have, it's not their fault, but they have, people say, well, they don't have any imagination. Well, of course they have an imagination, but it's their imagination.
Right,
it's not
right.
yours.
Yeah.
So you try to reimagine for them. You try to show them what they want. Because sometimes they don't know. They got 30 characters they got to fill this part. They can't know what each one is. We need a cheerleader. Well, the cheerleader I went to high school with had blonde hair. So you're not a blonde, you can't get it. So wear a blonde wig.
Right.
But you can't know all this stuff. You have to ask these questions. So usually at the beginning of an audition, when you're in there, they'll say, "Do you have any questions?" I always say lots.
Really?
I say stuff like, "Do we like this guy?" And if they say no, then I go, "Well, I do," because I have to like him to play him.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I mean, I always bring up Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs. Now, here's the worst living human. This is a guy who eats people.
Yeah.
I mean, ridiculous.
Yeah.
He eats people. You don't get any lower than that. That's the lowest possible human being available. He eats people. And yet we're laughing at him. I'm having an old friend for lunch. And we're laughing.
Yeah.
Well, some fava beans. Ha, ha, ha. And we love him because he loved him. He loved his character so much. He loved playing him.
Yeah.
He loved to have little fava beans with his little soft boy of youth.
You are right.
Whatever. So you got to like your guy. And if you don't like your guy, you got to fake really well that you like your guy.
All right, just another good tip you're giving. Anything else? Any other tips before? I want to know.
An actor only has to do 2 things.
Okay, let me hear it.
Show up on time.
Yeah.
And know his lines. He doesn't even have to be good. And as you can tell from many performances. Right, Steven Seagal? Just kidding.
Peter, you always stand out on your parts. I mean, you never blend in. You always, even when you're blending in, you still stand out. So that's the reason why you've always been on my radar. You've been on my radar from day one.
Well, thank you.
All right, Peter. Any other last things I need to know about before we shut it down?
Keep your head down.
All right, Peter, do me a favor. We'll tell everybody bye out there.
Everybody?
Yeah.
Bye out there.